Today's topic is control, security, and audit. So what we are going to study under this, we are going to study internal control systems. So how the company's management or the board has a control internally of the organization, how they control things. So there are certain definitions you have to learn. You have to learn about the control environment. That is nothing but the organizational environment which is under control, and how they control that and what are the procedures to control. Then you'll be learning about internal audit, types of audit, accountability of internal audit as well. Then you'll be learning about external audits which are done by the practitioners. You'll be learning about the differences between internal and external audit. You'll be knowing about evaluation of internal audit function. You'll be learning about cyber risk, cyber attack and cyber security, IT system security, that is information technology, and then building controls into an information system. How, like, you can have secured controls, integrity controls, and contingency controls. You will be learning about this, which, like, for example, certain events in future may happen or may not happen. So depending upon that, we may see the control function. Impact of financial technology, that is fintech, on accounting systems. You'll be learning about cloud computing and accounting and other forms of fintech. Now let's go into the subject, deeper into the subject, internal control systems. See, internal means it is inside the organization. Control is you don't want things to go beyond certain limits, and there should be a system which can keep things in check. So this comprises control environment and control procedures. So if there is a system of internal control, then definitely first the environment on which this control system is going to act is nothing but the organization, which is like control environment here. And then certain procedures you have to apply, or certain procedures you have to follow to definitely control the things or keep check and balance on certain things. What is control environment? The overall attitude, awareness, and actions of directors and management regarding internal controls. So in control environment, we see the attitude, the awareness, and actions of directors and management regarding internal controls and their importance in the entity. So under control environment, the attitude from the top level is seen, the awareness, what kind of awareness they have and what kind of actions they are taking. Okay, and also we consider the management as well regarding the internal control. So the attitude towards internal control, the awareness of internal control, and the actions of directors for the control function. Okay, and what is the importance of that in the entity? The control environment encompasses the management style. That means how the management is functioning, and corporate culture and values shared by all employees. So all this is studied under control environment. This is nothing but they are studying everything in the organization, what is happening, the attitude of the top level management and the directors, the awareness what they have, and the actions what they take to keep the things under control and balance, and how they function, what's the style of functioning, and also what are the customs and culture, what kind of corporate culture they have, and what kind of values they share, the employees share. That's what is also seen in this. It provides the background against which various other controls are operated. Now, control procedures, the detailed controls in place and usually more formally explained and implemented. Excuse me, I'm getting a call. Just a second. So internal control systems include all the policies and procedures adopted by directors and management of an entity to assist in achieving their objectives. So see, objectives have to be achieved, but in a controlled manner. Things should be in check. Things should be in their like under their control. Things should be whatever is happening should not be beyond what the scope, what the scope it has, or beyond what is planned. Okay. So the objectives of the organization has to be achieved, but with what? The policies, procedures are made for that purpose, but by following the internal controls, by keeping the things under balance, by keeping the things in check, by keeping the things not to go out of control or not to go beyond certain limits, right? So keeping things under limits, they want to achieve the objectives. For that, they make policies and procedures. Internal controls may be incorporated within computerized accounting systems as well. However, the internal control system extends beyond those matters which relate directly to the accounting system. That means they say the controls are not restricted to this only, it can be beyond this. In order for internal controls to function properly, they have to be well directed across the entire organization, of course. So if it has to function properly, the controls, proper direction should be there for to perform this kind of functions and internal control function. And for that, it should be like properly performed in the the organization wide. Okay, in the entire organization, managers and staff will be more able and willing to implement controls and successfully if it can be demonstrated to them what objectives of the control systems are. That means managers should also know for what reason they are kind of implementing all these control systems. They know that if proper control is like a proper control system is implemented, then things would not go beyond limits, right? While objectives provide a yardstick for the board when they come to monitor and assess how controls have been operating, staff also need to understand them and what they are trying to achieve. There is a activity one, purpose of internal control. What are the purpose of controls in the organization? After reading the points, you have to write this activity's answer. We can see the answer of this activity. So the purpose of internal control, for everything to be effective and efficiently be running, controls are important, right? Respond appropriately to significant business, operational, financial, compliance, and other risks. Safeguarding of assets from inappropriate use or from loss and fraud. If the controls are there, definitely there will be no less chances of theft or fraud or any kind of losses. And help ensure the quality of internal and external reporting, requiring the maintenance of proper records and processes that generate a flow of timely, relevant, and reliable information from within the organization and from external sources. Help ensure compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Yeah, all the compliances should also be followed. That's very important. That is only what under internal control we see. Guide behavior, how you should be having a conduct, and highlight inconsistencies where we are not consistent. Okay, have a look through this once. Done? Inform me if you have done the
Yes,
reading.
sir. Yes, sir, done.
Okay, okay. Now, a suitable framework for controls such as FRC guidance on risk management. See, this, financial reporting. See, risk management is one of the fields whereby certain guidances are given to the organizations regarding risk management. So it's a part of internal control. The internal control function also has risk management as a added aspect in it. So internal control and related financial and business reporting. So a suitable framework for controls. That means how you should control the organization. There should be a framework of that. Would consist of information and communication processes as well as monitoring their continuing effectiveness via measures such as internal audit, which we will discuss later in the chapter. So how the companies can have a proper internal control in their organization through internal audit. Internal audit is all about checking, not only checking the books of accounts, but also checking the control functions properly. So they also have a risk. They have risk management also as a part of their functionality. So a suitable framework for controls would consist of information and communication processes. So there are all the information has to flow through departments, through segments in the company, and also communication should be intact between the departments and the segments, and all the monitoring should happen and continuing effectiveness via measures such as internal audit. So how effectively all things are working should be will be checked with the help of internal audit, and that we will be discussing later in the chapter. But internal audit is the most important internal control function. Inherent limitations of internal control system. So there are certain limitations which are by default there. There are inherent limitations of an internal control system. A sound system of internal control can only provide the directors with reasonable assurance that their objectives are reached and may simply reduce but not eliminate the possibilities of. See, internal control systems can reduce certain risks, but it cannot eliminate. Okay, there can still be possibility of poorly judged decisions, fraud, human error. Companies are having risk management departments, companies are having internal controls, companies are having audits, everything is going on, but still frauds are happening or not. Yes, those are not many organizations, they're not able to they were not able to control this. In the sense, frauds have been controlled, sorry, they were not able to eliminate this kind of crime in entirety, in the organizations. Still frauds are happening. Deliberate circumvention of controls, management override of controls, unforeseeable circumstances. So these things cannot, we don't have control over them, right? Systems will provide reasonable, not absolute assurance that the company will not be hindered in achieving its business objectives and in the end orderly and legitimate conduct of its business, but will not provide certain protection against all possible problems. The costs associated with certain make the benefits they deliver. Sometimes what cost we incur will be more than the benefits what we are going to earn. So which can also make controls less effective because costs are more than the benefits. So it seems like when we are putting more cost and the benefits are less, so the control seems to be very ineffective to us or less effective to us. Now, see, everything has a cost, right? To create a control environment and to conduct audits or any kind of control mechanism, you have to hire personals for that purpose, and everything has a cost, right? You need to incur cost as well for that. Control environment and procedures. We explained earlier that internal control systems can be split into control environment and control procedures. Now let's understand what is this control environment all about. Control environment. The following are the elements of strong control environment. First, clear strategies for dealing with significant risks that have been identified. So first, when things are considered under control and when we say that the environment or the organization in which we are working is under control, everything is under control. The strategies what they make for dealing first they should be getting very strong strategies into picture or clear strategies they should have for dealing with some risks and those strategies they have to identify. Point number one. Point number two, what is the company's culture, how the company has been running since a long time, what are the general culture is nothing but customs or how they are working them, how they are running themselves routinely since long time, what routine activities happen and how they happen and in what way. Then what is the code of conduct in the company, human resource policies and performance reward systems, how they are kind of rewarding the top level employees on performance related pay or on what on in what way. The business objectives and risk management and integral systems. So everything has to be seen, the culture, the code of conduct, the HR policies, how the performance rewards, and also the internal control systems, risk management, etc. Senior management demonstrating values through its actions and policies, commitment to competence. So whoever are the senior management who are who want strong values to be followed, and they are the ones who take actions and also they are the ones who make policies, are committed to competence. That means they are competent enough in doing that, and integrity and fostering a climate of trust within the company. That means they should be very honestly be functioning, and also they should create a climate of trust in the company. Then what is the definition of authority, responsibility and accountability, so that decisions are made and actions are taken by the appropriate people. Communication to employees of what is expected of them and scope of their freedom to act. That should also be that is also something which has to be studied under control environment, seen under this. People in the company having the knowledge, skills and tools to support the achievements of organization's objectives to manage effectively its risks. However, a strong control environment does not by itself ensure that the effectiveness of overall control internal control system, although it has a major influence on it. See, you have a control environment does not a guarantee that everything is all right in your company. It can have a major influence on the company's it can have a very major impact or influence on the company or organization, but it's not a guarantee that everything is intact. Now, control environment will have a major impact on the establishment of business objectives. Of course, you achieve whatever you want, but not at the expense of doing some activities which are against the bylaws or against the against the scope of the company or scope of the bylaws what you've made. So the structuring of business activities and dealing with risks. Now, control procedures we are going into. You may find control procedures classified in different ways. These are considered below. Classification of controls can be important because different classifications of control are tested in different ways. Classification, detail, administration. These are concerned with achieving the objectives of organization and with implementing policies. These controls relate to channels of communication and reporting responsibilities. So first, under control procedures, what we are saying the controls are classified. Okay. Uh, and that is very important because different classifications of control. Say control, I'm dividing that into many parts, are tested in different ways. So controls can be seen in every functionality, right? So first in administration. So these are concerned with achieving the objective. So why administration is important? They want it is important to achieve the objectives of organization, and they are the ones who implement the policies made by the by the board of directors. These controls relate to channels of communication and reporting responsibility. So what they do is how administration in the company is controlled is they have to communicate the results or things to the board of directors, and also uh, like whatever their responsibilities are, they should report regarding that as well. Accounting, these control aim to provide accurate, so accounting is very important and it is a part of internal controls. So it is very important that accounting, these controls aim to provide accurate accounting records. That's what they have to do, right? And to achieve accountability, they apply to recording transactions and establishing responsibilities for records, transactions, and assets. So they have to perform their functions. Okay, the one type of control, that means control should be there in this area is with the administration, in this area is with the accounting departments. Now, so control, we have seen two types of like classification. These are controls designed to prevent errors. That means prevention is nothing but you should not be doing whatever the errors are happening should be prevented, like checking invoices from suppliers against goods received notes before paying the invoices. That means sales returns, purchase returns, whatever is happening should be properly adjusted. If you don't check and don't see that, there is chance of you not adjusting those returned units, whatever you have or you have got from the customers, and that can create some kind of errors in the accounting. Okay, or in the books. Detect, these are designed to detect errors. So prevent is preventing, detect is detecting and acting against it. Okay, by doing certain bank reconciliations or physical checks of inventory under against the inventory records, and then corrections. These are designed to minimize or negate the effect of errors. An example would be backup of computer input at the end of the day. Some things we have to go ahead. A usual framework for effective financial control procedures is SPAN SOAP. What is this? So how financial control procedures can be can be very like financial control procedures are very important and essential for the financial functionality or function. So there is a framework here that shows effective financial control procedures. You can understand that framework with the help of this mnemonic span soap. What is this? Segregation of duties. You don't give the duties to one person. Instead of, what they are saying is you should, whoever is the chairman of the company should not be doing the executive roles, like should not be CEO, because he will make the policies and he will only implement. So who is going to question? If one person is doing both the jobs, there's no one to question them, right? So chair executive role should be split. The chairman of the board should not be the chief executive also. Those should be different. Physical. These are measures to secure safe custody of assets. So first segregation of duties, then physical safe custody of assets, measures should be taken for that. Then authorization and approval, authorized persons or the ones who have the Right to approve things should only be doing the tasks for which they have been for like the kind of task for which they are having the authorization. Management, you should know that provide control through analysis, review of accounts such as variance analysis. Then supervision, like ensures everyone is aware of work checks, reducing the risk of falsification or errors. Then organization, keeping things in a very balanced way by identifying reporting lines, levels of authority and responsibilities ensures everyone is aware of their control and responsibilities. Arithmetic and accounting, without any errors, things should be performed and reconciliation should be done. Personal. So this is what we have done, like spam, soap. Attention should be given to selection, training and qualifications of personnel, the ones who are working in the company, as well as personal qualities. Attributes should be checked. The quality of any system is dependent on the competence and integrity of those who carry out control operations. Internal control should not be confused with internal checks, which have a more restricted definition. So what is internal checks? Scrutiny of day-to-day transactions whereby the work of one person is proved independently or is complementary to work of another. So if someone is working or is on some task, scrutiny should be done like on daily basis. That is called internal check. So scrutiny of day-to-day operations whereby the work of one person is proved independently. That means they are doing it with autonomy and independently, or is complementary to work of another. That means there is some work like they have some interrelationship with another. The object being the prevention of early detection of errors and fraud. So the internal checks here, what we are discussing about is all about detection of errors and prevention of errors and as well as fraud. Internal check is all about cross verifying the books of accounts and seeing what errors it has. Errors can see human errors can be from the human beings, right? We humans make errors. So if there is if there is something like which has been missed out or something has not been recorded, so errors, there can be errors are not intentional, okay, it happens by mistake, but fraud is intentional. So this fraud, if it comes out, definitely it's a part of internal check, or internal functionality is all about checking the errors and frauds, differentiating them and then punishing the fraudulent acts. It includes matters such as delegation and allocation of authority. So the work is assigned and there are superiors and there are subordinates, how they divide the work among themselves, division of work, method of recording transactions and use of independently ascertained totals against which a large number of individual items can be proved. So this is a question, what are the characteristics of a good control system? You have to do this. This chapter has how many subunits? We will check.
8, sir.
8. It's a very big chapter, right? Probably one of the biggest chapters. Third one, internal control. It's a very big one. We will take in a fresh session. So we will take up this tomorrow. We will do 3 units tomorrow. Okay, we still have time now. We can spend. We have 10 more minutes. So I will take 10 more minutes and explain this. See, internal audit is one part of an organization's internal control system, but it plays a unique role. So internal audit, an independent appraisal activity. So this is done independently without any pressure on anyone, established within an organization which functions by examining and evaluating the adequacy and effectiveness of other controls. That means they check, audits happen on if there are many functions which happen in the company and audits are conducted on all functions. So financial reports are cross checks, HR audits are done here, systems audit. There are many types of, there are almost many functions where audits are conducted. The main importance of audit is to establish internal control, right? And check the effectiveness and adequacy of controls. So what they do is, it's a activity which is established within an organization, which functions by examining and evaluating the adequacy and effectiveness of other controls. The investigative techniques developed are applied to the analysis of the effectiveness of all parts of an entity's operations and management. So the techniques have been developed in such a way that they analyze the effectiveness of all the functions in all the parts of a company's operations and management. What are the objectives of audit, internal audit review systems? So they review review systems of accounting and internal control for both financial and non-financial controls. That means this includes reviewing the design of the systems, monitoring the operation of systems by risk assessment and detailed testing, and recommending cost-effective improvements. Examination of operation of information, whatever information they get, they have to check whether it is the information what they've got is relevant or reliable or not. So financial and operating both, including detailed testing of transactions, balances and procedures. Review of economy, efficiency and effectiveness of operations. They don't want unnecessary cost to be spent, and they want whether all the everything which is important for achieving the objectives of organization has been implemented or not. That's what they check. They also check the compliance with laws. They see whether the assets whatever are in the organization shown in the books are existing physically and are safeguarded. They review of implementation and communication of corporate objectives, identification of significant business risk and what is to be done to minimize that, and special investigations to particular area, for example suspected fraud or how well the business complies with social and the environmental matters. Internal auditors work on risk management is crucial to the way the organization counters risk, and see they also have this function called risk management. So what they do under that is they identify the risks, they prioritize the risks. That means they rank the risks and they take decisions how to minimize those risks, right? That's called risk response. So there are two key features of any internal audit function that are central to them achieving their objectives: independence. They should be working independently, not under any pressure, and appraisal. Internal audit is concerned with appraisal of work done by other people in the organization, and the internal auditors should not carry out any of that work themselves. So appraisal is nothing but like whatever the work is happening every time, that should happen more properly and more efficiently. Okay, and internal auditors should not carry those work. They are the ones who are supposed to just judge and monitor, not to do those tasks. Okay, now there are many types of audits I said you which happen in the companies. Internal auditors can get involved in virtually anything that the organization requires them to do. This could involve a review of social or environmental activity of both employers and employees, as well as performing certain investigations. However, there are three specific types of audit that you need to be aware of. Operational audits. This type of audit monitors management's performance and is sometimes known as management efficiency or value for money audit. How efficiently the management is working, that is what they audit and they see. Systems audit. Systems audit test and evaluate internal controls. Typically, there are two types of tests: compliance testing, substantive testing. Compliance testing is nothing but whether the compliances are, whether all the compliances or rules and regulations are followed or not, and substantive testing is something but are there any errors or omissions from specific transactions. That means they will check whether there are errors or not. If that's there, then they'll detect and they'll try to see what are the root cause of that, and then that will be reported to the directors. There is a real life example here. Suppose a department within a company processes travel claims which are eventually paid and recorded on the general ledger. So they are having some claim, it seems, some department, someone has gone for some travel purpose, some employee, and they want to claim that from the senior like department or management. When conducting compliance tests, the internal audit is looking at the controls in the travel claim section to see if they are working properly. This is not the same as looking at the travel claim themselves. For example, one of the internal controls might be that a clerk checks the addition on the travel claim and initials a box to say that they have done so. So see, they have certain systems and procedures, right? So based upon that, the employees work. So a clerk checks the addition on travel claim. That means whether travel claim has been considered or not, and initials a box to say that they have done so. If they fail to perform their arithmetic check, then there has been a control failure. That means if they have They have given the approval, but if they don't really do that, then it's a failure, right? So regardless of whether the travel claim had in fact been added up correctly or incorrectly, that means they are performing some, there is some error, human error here. They have done all the additions and they have given the approval, but still, see, if they fail to perform the arithmetic check, that means the claim amount is something which is given by the given by one of the departments to the clerk. The clerk is just directly approving it without even checking whether the amounts what they are like, you know, they have quoted and given to the clerk. The clerk has to definitely like, you know, cross check, has to see, do the arithmetic check, right, whether whatever they are claiming is something which is like you know, honest claim or not. If that they are not doing, then what, they are not doing their job correctly, right? So when conducting substantive tests, the internal audit is examining figures which they have extracted directly from company's financial records. For this sort of test, auditor is concerned only with establishing whether or not the figure in the ledger is correct. They are not concerned as to how it got there. See, they are not in substantive test. They are checking what is mentioned in the books is really what is there or not. Okay, that means establishing whether or not the figure in the ledger is correct. That means they will see whether whatever the figure shown in the ledger, suppose invoice, they have an invoice has 1080 dollars as some total amount. In the books 1008 has been written, so there is an error. They will just check the errors and they will try to rectify, but they'll not ask from where this amount and in what is the breakup of this amount which has been recorded, right? That's what we will continue from here tomorrow. Okay, right? Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, yeah.